Why do we love watching shows like the Culinary Class Wars? It's more than just food. Shows like Culinary Class Wars play on powerful psychological principles that tap into our deepest human instincts. And today, I want to explore those with you. We're going to dive into how cognitive biases, emotional triggers, and our brain's desire for excitement and storytelling all come together to create this gripping experience. By the end of this, you'll not only understand why you love watching it, but you'll probably appreciate even more. Let's start with one of the strongest hooks of Culinary Class Wars, the underdog story. Why do we always root for the underdog? In the show, the black spoons represent these underdog chefs. They are portrayed as less experienced, less known, or even less skilled compared to the white spoons, who are the established and renowned chefs. Right from the start, this sets up a classic David versus Goliath scenario. And let's be real, we love watching David fight. Psychologically, this taps into the underdog bias. We naturally sympathize with the little guy, the person who has to overcome adversity. It's a narrative that resonates with us on a personal level. We see ourselves in the black spoons. How many times in life have we felt underestimated or like we were up against someone more skilled or more experienced? It's the story that resonates with our own struggles. And when we see these chefs beating the odds or making into the next round, it gives us a sense of hope and triumph. I remember watching one episode where a black spoon chef made an incredible innovative dish with minimal ingredients, while the white spoon chef stuck to a more traditional recipe. The black spoon chef won that round, and it was so satisfying because we're wired to love those moments of unexpected victory. That's what keeps us coming back. We want to see if the underdog can pull off another win. Now, let's talk about competition. We know that Culinary Class Wars isn't just a cooking show, it's a full-blown competition. And competition is one of the most powerful drivers of human behavior. There's something about watching two chefs go head-to-head, choosing random ingredients and creating something extraordinary that gives us a thrill. But why do we love watching competition so much? Well, it has a lot to do with how our brains are wired. From an evolutionary standpoint, competition was necessary for survival. Our ancestors had to compete for resources, for mates, and even for social status. Watching competition today lights up the same parts of our brain that were engaged during those survival challenges. It's like our brain says, "This is important, pay attention." And it's not just any competition. The fact that the chefs are randomly assigned ingredients adds an element of unpredictability, which makes it even more thrilling. The element of surprise keeps our brains engaged. We don't know what's coming next, and that keeps us on the edge of our seats. Think about the second round of Culinary Class Wars, the one-on-one match, where the chefs have to choose from 20 fridges, each containing a random ingredient. The suspense of what they'll pick, how they'll use it, and whether they'll put it off is a huge cognitive hook. It's a bit like watching a high-stakes poker game, where each card drawn can completely change the outcome. That unpredictability keeps us glued to the screen. Another reason we love watching Culinary Class Wars is because we get emotionally invested in the chefs. And I don't mean just in their cooking. We care about their stories. Why? Because humans are wired for storytelling. In each episode, we learn more about the chefs' backgrounds, their struggles, their motivations, their dreams, and this taps into our natural tendency to connect with narratives. When we hear someone's story, we empathize with them. We see their journey, and we want them to succeed. For example, in the semi-final round where the chefs had to cook a dish representing their life, it wasn't just about the food, it was about their personal story. One chef cooked a dish that represented the hardship they faced growing up in a small town, using ingredients that reminded them of their childhood. Suddenly, it wasn't just about tasting the dish, it was about understanding the emotion and the memories behind it. That's powerful. When a dish tells a story, it becomes more than just food. It becomes a symbol of someone's life, their struggles and their triumphs. And as viewers, we become deeply invested in their journey. It might sound a bit harsh, but let's be honest. Part of the appeal of shows like Culinary Class Wars is the drama of elimination. We know not everyone can make it to the final round, and that tension, who will stay and who will go, keeps us hooked. This taps into something called negativity bias. Our brains are more attuned to negative outcomes than positive ones. We pay more attention when there's a risk of failure. Think about the consolation round, where chefs have to create a dish using ingredients typically found in a convenience store. The stakes are high, and there's always the risk that someone will mess up or fail to impress the judges. The fear of failure is what keeps us watching closely. But here's the thing, it's not just about watching people fail, it's also about the possibility of redemption. We want to see how people pick themselves back up after a loss. When a chef bounces back from a tough round or creates a stunning dish after being on the verge of elimination, it feels like a victory for all of us. Let's talk about the group challenges, like the black versus white team match or the restaurant mission in round 4. These are some of the most intense moments in Culinary Class Wars because they introduce a new layer of complexity: team dynamics. Teamwork is fascinating because it taps into both collaboration and competition at the same time. On the one hand, the chefs need to work together to create a cohesive menu. But on the other hand, they're still competing individually to stand out and avoid elimination. This creates tension, and as viewers, we love it. Group challenges also tap into our social comparison bias. We instinctively compare ourselves to others, and in a team setting, the chefs are doing the same. They are trying to prove they are the best, while also working as part of a team. It's a delicate balance, and watching them navigate it is incredibly engaging. Remember the restaurant mission, where the contestants had to create their own restaurant concept and serve dishes to mukbang creators? The idea of working under such tight time constraints, with so much at stake, triggers a mix of stress and excitement for both the chefs and the viewers. We feel the pressure along with them, and we're emotionally invested in how they'll pull it off. Speaking of mukbang creators, the decision to have them as customers in the restaurant mission round was a brilliant move. Mukbang creators are influencers who have built their entire platforms around eating food in front of an audience. Their role in the show taps into our desire for social validation. Think about it, we live in a world where we constantly seek approval from others. Whether it's like on social media or a phrase at work, we crave validation. Watching mukbang creators who have a massive influence on social media enjoy or critique the chef's dishes adds a whole new layer of tension. Will they like the food? Will they endorse it? Their feedback feels more personal because in a way, they represent us, the viewers. They are not just judging the food, they are validating the chef's efforts. And when a mukbang creator gives us glowing review, it feels like a win for the chef, and for us as the audience. Now, let's talk about the semi-final rounds. Anna's Cooking Hell Challenge. 6 rounds of 30 minutes, one after another. With the key ingredient being tofu, it's exhausting just thinking about it, right? But this taps into another cognitive secret: our fascination with endurance challenges. Endurance tests, whether physical or mental, are compelling because they push people to their limits. We're drawn to watching how much someone can take before they break. And in the case of Culinary Class Wars, we're watching chefs not only deal with the physical strain of back-to-back cooking, but also the mental pressure of coming up with creative dishes on the fly. Endurance challenges make us ask ourselves, could I do that? And that's where the magic lies. We're not just passive viewers, we're mentally pulling ourselves into their shoes, wondering how we'd perform in the same situation. It's a form of vicarious experience, where we get to feel the excitement and stress without actually having to go through it ourselves. Finally, we come to the grand finale, the name on the line dish. At this point, we've followed the chef through countless challenges, and now it all comes down to this. The final round is the ultimate test of skill, creativity, and perseverance. What makes the final round so captivating is that it's not just about technique, it's about identity. The chefs are putting their reputation on the line with this dish, and that's what makes it so high stakes. We're not just watching them cooking, we're watching them define themselves. And the twist, if the judges don't unanimously agree on the best dish, the chefs have to cook another one. Adds a whole new layer of pressure. It is the ultimate test of their ability to think on their feet and deliver under immense stress. So, why do we keep watching Culinary Class Wars? It's not just about the food, it's about the psychological hooks that keep us engaged. The underdog bias, the thrill of competition, the emotional investment in the chef's stories, the drama of elimination, the tension of team dynamics, the social validation from influencers, the fascination with endurance challenges, and the ultimate test of identity in the final round. Shows like Culinary Class Wars tap into our deepest cognitive and emotional triggers, making them irresistible to watch. And now that we've peeled back the layers of why this show is so compelling, you can watch it with a new sense of appreciation. Knowing that it's not just about cooking, it's about the psychology of what makes us human. So the next time you tune in, you'll not only enjoy the show, but you'll understand why you're so hooked. Isn't that the real secret? Here's another video you may be interested in. See you around at IntelliWorks.